So, as you can tell by the ill-fitting Santa hat, tis the season for the somewhat annual meltdown of the evangelical community over the war on Christmas. And as a former evangelical, yes, I did have strong feelings about this. And the fun thing about the internet is that there are, lots of little digital ghosts just kind of floating around through the ether, the little remnants of your past self that you leave behind when you post something. So I figured it would be a really fun thing this holiday season to go over a blog post that I wrote about the war on Christmas back way back when I was super heavily evangelical. Blog post is over a decade old, at least. It's probably a decade old. I think I posted it in 2009. It was unpublished by the site moderators, probably due to inactivity, or probably when I went back to change my name on the site to, avoid doxing myself when I was going to use this for this purpose. So, and I got to thinking, I'm going to be busting a ghost of my Christmas past. And who better to help deal with the kind of crazy out there stuff that, your former self had been peddling than Andey Fellowes. And happily, luckily for me, he did agree to do this collaboration. So let's go ahead and have Andey Fellowes start us off here, if you will, Andy.
I've skimmed this already, so I kind of know what I'm getting into here, but let's see what this says. Happy holidays. 2 words that in and of themselves are of no accord, but together they make one of the most controversial phrases of our time. Is it that controversial? I can think of a few more controversial phrases, if I'm honest with you. The 2 words that are in the centre of what has been termed the yearly battle for Christmas. Now, is this yearly as well? I don't know that it was. I remember a few years ago there was this whole thing about cups in Starbucks or something. But is this a yearly battle for Christmas? I don't even know that there is a battle for Christmas. No one's stopping anyone celebrating Christmas. I haven't been stopped from celebrating Christmas. I mean, I guess someone's stopping someone from celebrating Christmas somewhere. But generally, in countries that are predominantly Christian, I don't think we've got a problem here. You do you, and if you've got a problem with different cups in Starbucks, then I don't know, I guess keep it to yourself, because who cares? Personally, I prefer Merry Christmas to Happy Holidays. The reasons should become apparent later on. Is there some fury underneath that? I feel like there's some fury underneath that.
Christmas began as the Christ Mass to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. It was chosen to take place December 25th to replace the celebration of the winter solstice. No one knows the exact date of his birth, but there is approximately a 1 in 365 chance that it was. Later, it was shortened to Christmas. Over the time, the holy day, or holiday, added traditions of its own. It grew into the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, so while Christmas as we know it basically came from the the Catholic Church slapping Jesus onto a bunch of pagan practices so people can keep your your holiday festivals like Saturnalia or Yule. Um there's it's very much it is very much taking the pagan holidays and just slapping a Jesus brand onto it, which is something that Christians really like to do, is take something that they don't like or something that's not not inherently Christian and either utterly demonizing it or slapping Jesus all over it and pretending like they came up with it themselves. The thing is, if Jesus was even really a historical person, but even if we take that as somewhat historical, it was most likely in early spring, so there's a lot smaller chance than the 1 in 365 that Jesus was actually, born on Christmas if he was actually a person at all. And also, interestingly enough, the Puritans who were in control of New England, specifically Massachusetts, actually outlawed Christmas for several decades. I think it was nearly a century before it was actually legal to celebrate Christmas and kids were actually allowed to take Christmas off. Kids who celebrated Christmas were allowed to take it off from school. So, fun fact, the more stricter, interesting fact that the more stricter behaviorally controlling sects of Christianity are the ones actually going after the holiday itself instead of just trying to be more inclusive for the people who celebrate other holidays around this time of year.
Now Happy Holidays jeopardizes all of that. Oh no, okay. Think of it like water. Is this a necessary metaphor? Are we seeing this as a necessary metaphor? Let's see. Think of it like water. Most of the time water has a plethora of different tastes. At any time it can carry hints of the woods, pine, cherry, apple, metals. I don't think I've tasted all the water, but when I do taste water, it doesn't always taste that different. Like, it tastes like water. There's sometimes it's a bit sweeter, sometimes it's less sweet. I'm not going out into the woods and drinking the water next to a pine tree though, so maybe I'm wrong. But also I think I'll get ill if I do that, so maybe don't. Metals, copper, steel, other minerals, salt. Granted, drink seawater and it will taste like salt. Granted. Just like the taste of water in Montana is different than the taste of water in Washington or Idaho. Christmas is different flavors, both literally and figuratively. I feel kind of bad, but this is kind of condescending. It's that... And I kind of get it, because I was there too. Like, when I was in the New Age stuff, I was condescending as fuck. Like, I was really fucking condescending. Water even differs in flavour between towns, just like Christmas has different flavours between households. Okay, so I guess that water's going to taste a bit different in different places. I guess that Christmas is going to taste... Christmas isn't... I suppose Christmas is going to taste a bit different in different places as well. But again, I'm feeling like I'm not sure where this is going. Like, where is this going?
But when you purify or distill water, aka filter out everything that isn't hydrogen or oxygen, the water becomes tasteless. And if you add more oxygen to this pure H2O, it becomes H2O2, or hydrogen peroxide, which happens to be toxic. Just like if you remove almost everything from Christmas, it loses its flavor and becomes just another day. For many stores, that only makes a profit during its Christmas season, about 90%. This is not an option. It would also be disastrous for the economy. So apparently the answer is to remove everything that has to do with religion, aka Christianity, and just have a holiday season. Hoo boy, that was cringy. Thank you for sticking around through this. I know it's really cringy. It's part of the reason why I'm doing this. Is, partially banishing my own old pasts, partially just, yes, I get the Christian cringe. I was the Christian cringe. This is Christian Christmas cringe right here, and it's, I don't know, I'm in for it. But yeah, that's all what I can really say about this, especially since in our modern time, Christmas is more of a cultural holiday than a religious holiday. Though Christians and fundamentalists evangelicals in very much particular try to take culture and either absorb it into their religion to make to make the culture their religion, or they try to demonize it and push you with not making Christmas about Jesus, or including other holidays that happen to take place around this season. And even if you are talking in a strictly in a strictly Christian mindset right here, saying happy holidays also includes New Year's. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So if you, even lumping in New Year's and like Boxing Day, if you're from one of the countries that celebrates that, it's, Christmas Eve, Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's. It's holidays. So even in a Christian, Christmas only exclusionary mindset, happy holidays still makes a lot of sense. So there is that.
Voila. You have a hydrogen peroxide holiday. One that instead of rehydrating and refreshing people in society, it becomes toxic, injurious and deadly. Right, can I just say, Christmas, although it does kind of it lifts your spirits and you get a bit drunk and you have some, maybe get a bit drunk, maybe not get a bit drunk. I don't get a bit drunk. But be around people, have a nice time. That might be kind of it might lift your spirits a little bit, It might make you kind of happier and you might feel a bit better. But I don't know that it's refreshing necessarily, because most people that, have Christmas, very quickly they get quite drunk. So that's not refreshing, and it's the opposite of rehydrating, because they're going to shrivel up, right? And then they're going to suppress their emotions for a little while, because you can't be upset on Christmas. And if you do get upset on Christmas, then it's this huge blowout and, there's problems. Maybe I'm just speaking from... Yeah. No, actually, I'm not even, because that's not even my family. My family's not even like that. But yeah, the impression I get, for me, it's suppress your emotions on Christmas. Don't have emotions on Christmas. This is Christmas. Be happy. And in that sense, again, it's not rehydrating or refreshing necessarily. But then maybe I am just talking about this toxic, injurious and deadly kind of Christmas, because I didn't grow up with a particularly religious Christmas. In fact, there was no real religion in Christmas. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is true. Maybe, yeah. I don't think it is, but maybe it is. Greed runs rampant. People stampede around in a frenzy, trampling and getting trampled in turn. I suppose that's like going buying presents and that, climbing on people. More descriptive of Black Friday, I think, than Christmas maybe. Although maybe it's different in different places. To new peaks. Does any of this sound familiar? Yeah, you've described Black Friday.
So, remember the lessons the old classics have taught us. Christmas is about much more than gifts. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. It truly is the thought that counts, the gift of the Magi. No matter what happens, you can make a difference, and your life is worth living. It's a Wonderful Life. And the true reason for Christmas, Jesus, does have the power to change people. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Oh, what about the most important lesson? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. From Die Hard. What about that? Huh? No, but in all seriousness, there's, this is a picture of what growing up in a strictly Christian, media-controlled household can do to a person. Right here is you've got to comb through every piece of media that you consume to find some kind of Christian moral in it to make it okay. And the more fantastic or supernatural the media is, the more you have to comb. When I was still Christian, I found a way to make the Curse of the Black Pearl Pirates of the Caribbean movie about Jesus and original sin and being saved. But yeah, the kind of frustrating thing about it, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is very heavily themed against capitalism and the consumerist nature of the holiday. You can more easily argue that it's an indictment of partying too loud and pissing off your neighbors. Which actually the opening of Beowulf is kind of an indictment of that as well. And yes, I am very much more into utilizing references from culture, mostly as illustrations, mostly as jokes. But, now it's more talking about the themes and ideas explored in the work itself, rather than what kind of lesson I can get from this. And as far as I can tell, as far as I can see, it seems to be a much healthier mindset, a much more critical mindset. And of course, a story about a newlywed couple in the Great Depression, The Gift of the Magi, where, the lady sells her hair to buy a watch chain for her new husband, and the husband sells his watch to buy a golden, hair comb for his wife. It's a sweet, fuzzy story. And it's understandable that that a story set in that time would carry that kind of theming, because you're talking about people who are living in just about abject poverty, doing what they can to make the holiday special for the people that they care about, which is arguably a much more valuable theme slash, moral slash idea to take from that story, then, it's the thought that counts. Christmas is more than gifts. And, everyone knows It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart goes to jump off a bridge and then sees what his life would have, what the town he lived in would have been like if he had never been born. And, Clarence, I want to live, Clarence. I want to live. And now we come to A Christmas Carol, which is less than, the true power of Christmas, cough Jesus, can really change a person. It's more, don't be a dick to poor people. No, honestly, Charles Dickens called his story, called specifically A Christmas Story a sledgehammer for the poor. And actually, if you, read the actual story instead of, watching one of the many great film adaptations of imagery and allusions about the rich just not giving a shit for the poor, and how this time of year of all times you should go that extra mile to care about your fellow man, lest you die a lonely death and be remembered as a monster and only in passing. So, that's really that's really the point of the Christmas Carol. It's not, oh, Jesus, the true power of Christmas, Jesus can really change a person. It's more about caring, if your choices affect others, and if you don't care for people, you're gonna become an old, bitter man and die alone.
The best way to sum this up would be with a few words from The Grand Illusion by Styx. I've not heard that either. Not heard that one. Nope. So don't be fooled by the radio, the TV, or the magazine. They show you photographs of how your life should be, but that's just someone else's fantasy. Oh, so profound, so deep and profound. Music is so deep and profound sometimes. I don't know. I don't really know what to say to that, because that's kind of at the level that I would, if someone was saying that to me, like if I was just talking to someone and they were like, I think we can all sum this up really well by the lyrics of The Grand Illusion by Styx, I would go, just kind of back out of the room. Like, I know people that would do that, and I'd just kind of be like, shut up, which is probably rude. It's definitely rude. But I just kind of, what do you say to that? What do you say to that when someone says that? One more thing to say, and it's this. Merry Christmas. I love that feels like the climax of like some really rebellious thing, which is it is strange to me. And I know that there are some places in the world, some specific, pockets of life where that is probably quite a rebellious thing to say. I don't get it. Like, I feel like this is akin to the kind of rage that I would have when I was like a new ager and stuff. Like, that you would get super annoyed about things that are really, really niche, and really not really relevant to anybody else. Like, they're relevant to your specific demographic. Like, I got annoyed once about people trying to heal trees because I was like, they can heal themselves. Like, I feel like maybe that's a similar thing to this. And I may just be out of the loop. I mean, I was in a cult for a few years and I don't watch the news and stuff. But like, is this a thing? Are people really still going on about this? Maybe they are.
And yippee-ki-yay. Yeah, I did that joke already. So, anyways, Thank you, Andy, for joining me for this video. Um, I'll just say this, this whole Christian cringe fest really does go to show that indoctrination is a hell of a drug. And I'll go ahead and let Andey Fellowes see us out here.
Yeah. Thank you, One Ring, for having me on your channel. This has been fun. It's been very fun to react to this strange thing that you sent me to read. I don't really know what to make of it, if I'm honest. It's been odd. But I can definitely relate. Like, you were saying this is cringy. I can definitely relate to the kind of place that you would be in when you were writing something like this. But yeah, all right, thanks again for having me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Well, here I am on the end card, pointing out things. You can subscribe, you can like, share, do all the YouTube things. Follow me on Twitter if you like slightly blasphemous humor. But in all seriousness, an extra special thank you to Andey Fellowes for agreeing to do this collaboration with me. You are the man, Andy, and all of you out there watching, if any of you are, it's very statistically unlikely, given our respective follower counts. But if any of you aren't subscribed to Andy right now, go ahead, check out his channel. I'll link a video in this end card right here, and watch it, give it a like, share it around, and go ahead and subscribe and tell him I sent you. And happy holidays or Merry Christmas or whatever the fuck.